of Dr. Obadiah David Alagayu, and tonight we will be conducting a live on Ori, our head, our destiny, our inner self, and that's what the life today is going to be about. It's going to be about Ori. It's going to be about the different aspects of our destiny. How can we align our destiny, our Ori, with Eshupakuo and with different Irumoles, with different deities in our path. Good evening, Marcelino. Good evening, Jamie. Good evening, everyone. Blessings to all of you that are tuning in this life. So first and most of all, I want to give a small introduction on letting you guys know that whoever is going to watch this later on, that normally, as you all know, my videos are in Spanish. It's the language that I feel most comfortable with, and it is the language we usually share together in my channels. But for this live stream and for other more yet to come, I'm going to try to do it in English. I want to be upfront with all of you. My English isn't good at all. Doesn't even come close to being good. I'm still learning, practicing my accent, especially my accent. So please bear with me if I stumble over words. I really want to connect with a wider audience for this particular topic and for all the religious topics that I want to share with you guys. So, it seems like this is the best way to do that. So I'm stepping a little bit outside my comfort zone. Actually, I'm stepping over on a big difference, step on my comfort zone. And I'm going to try to give it my best shot. I am a little nervous. I won't lie, because I don't usually like to, I'm a perfectionist, for those of you that like, how do you say horoscopo? And Adina, thank you very much, Adina, for your support. How do you say horoscopo? Well, for the zodiac sign, I am a Virgo. So for those of you that like zodiac, we Virgos are a little bit perfectionist. And I don't like to do anything that I'm not good at. So, but your support always means the world to me, and I hope you'll be a little bit patient and understanding as I navigate this live stream in English. Thank you for being such an amazing community, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in this live stream and the rest of them yet to come. Now, this live stream, yes, Tony, it's going to be a live stream in English, but si me pudieran apoyar con un like en YouTube, if you guys can support me with a like, especially in my YouTube channel, I will be deeply grateful. Ori, when we speak about, well, first of all, this live is going to be a description. We're going to talk on one of my books that I recently just published a couple of months ago. That is called The Power of Ori. This book that you guys see here, this book called The Power of Ori, Unlocking Spiritual Growth. It is a book that my editorial just translated a couple of months ago. It's the book translated in English that I wrote that is called in Spanish, El Secreto de la Alineación Ori. In Spanish, is when you translate literally from Spanish to English, it's called The Secret on Aligning Ori. But I decided to title it in English, The Power of Ori. I think it goes a little bit more with the context on what the book is, and it lets the English community it gives them a little bit of a brighter idea on what the book is about. Okay? So we're going to be talking about this book. And by the way, if you guys want to check out this book, it's one of my 43 published literature. It's available on my official website, www.davidalaaggayu.com. I don't have the book yet. That book is one of my best seller in Spanish. We'll see how it does in English. So yes, this book contains synopsis, prologue, yeah, that, the dedication, the acknowledgements, the introduction. So in chapter 1, I navigate on chapter 1 is called An Approach to Stupidity. So I write about the history of stupidity, and I also describe the difference on the different stupidity levels and what really a stupidity is, and that from many years, from more than 150 years to this date, stupidity has been a subject that is being discussed by the many of the philosophical and philosophical writers that we have had in times. So chapter 2 of the book is called The Path to Religious Leadership. Chapter 3, it's called Learning to Use the Brain and Memory Techniques. You know, this is a book where I speak about the brain, I speak about the memory, and I speak about the secrets and techniques that has worked on me. I share them with you. Greetings, Tadix, Cecilia, greetings to everyone. Thank you for Genio. Ashe, awesome, love it. Well, Ache Koche, as I say. Chapter 3, Learning to Use the Brain and Memory Techniques. Chapter 4, The Secret of Ori Alignment. In that chapter, I start to get very deep into the subject on what are the ways that we can align our Ori with our body and our destiny. Chapter 5, Seeking the Path to Equanimity. I think that's how you say it. Equanimity. Well, seeking the path to equanimity. Chapter 6, Desire and Perseverance. And chapter 7, Hermetism to Yoruba Lukume practice. So this is a book that really it has the purpose of helping the reader on discovering the secret of aligning their Ori, as I said, as I mentioned, and refine their behavioral conduct in social, family, and religious spheres. But it also works as a tool that addresses psychological, religious, philosophical, neurological, biological, historical, and many other topics on comparing those discipline studies with Ori. It also combines the behavioral character and conduct of human beings with the oduns of Erin Dilogun, Ifa, and Orisha, and other areas, offering a reader, or the reader, a very effective practical tool with applicable and immediate techniques to implement in their life, in our life, so we can achieve the success we all deserve and desire. Ori is a perfect Orisha. It is a perfect blessings, Jennifer. Blessings to all of you. Doris, blessings. Ori is the only Orisha that can bring us many blessings without us having to sacrifice an animal per se. Ori is the best Orisha that was constructed by Obatala, and Ori is just a magnificent machine. It's a magnificent machine that can work as you want it to work. Ori. However, it has been necessary to begin on the writing of this book I begin with theor- theoretical chapters on brain functioning, memory, and human behavior character before getting into deeper topics about Ori. Because to run, we must understand how to crawl and then how to walk. If we understand how our brain works and then we dive a little bit deeper into how Ori works, then we will be able. Yes, Maria, I am on YouTube right now. If you can come to support me on YouTube, that would be amazing. Yes, I'm sorry. The live will be 100% in English today for our English viewers. And for those of you that are first timers in my channels, especially my YouTube channel, my TikTok channel, I invite you to subscribe, hit that bell, give a like, and I do advise you that I drink my little water, I smoke my cigarette, because my life are not 20 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. My lives are pretty long. I think we'll do a live today like about an hour and a half, 2 hours will be a decent introduction on Ori. I know smoking on camera is not too ethical, but hey, we all have our goods and bads, right? So I do recommend whoever decides to acquire this great book, I recommend reading each chapter in the order presented and resist, go against the temptation to skip information, as I am certain that each chapter contains a wide of wisdom that will positively influence your approach and journey towards adopting measures to improve your destiny and achieve what you desire. Because this is a book that I have written systematically. It's a system. It's a system that if you will follow it, I guarantee you that it will help you on becoming 110% a successful person, whether you are religious or you are not religious. So the book also dives into orishas, animals, plants, irumoles, and other celestial or earthly living beings that had a pattern of behavior conduct, some of which led them to success, while others led them to failure. When they everything that was created by Olodumare and Irumoles, everything had to be aligned with an Ori, with their Ori on the earthly plane to align their path with their Egbe on earth. And in this book, I also dive into Egbe. So every person, object, animal, plant, living or non-living being has their Ori, because Ori is simply the essence of someone or something that stands above anything else. So, the Ori of my body is my head, because it's the most top object of my body. The Ori of this bottle is the, how do you say this? The top, la tapa. How do help me, please? 911. English 911. So the Ori of the bottle is the cover, the top, I guess, surface point. Lid, yes, the cap, the lid. The Ori of the bottle is the lid. So the Ori of this lighter is this is the Ori of the lighter. So everything in this world, whether it's an animal, a person, a house, the Ori of this house, of my house, your house also, it is the roof. So everything has an Ori. Everything can be aligned or non-aligned with their Ori. So when something is not aligned with their Ori, it will just not work. If the house is not aligned with its Ori, which is the roof, when it rains, water is gonna fall inside the house, and a lot of things inside the house can break. If the Ori of this bottle is not put right in place, things can go inside the water. Then the water is not gonna do the correct what it's supposed to do in our body. Hydrate us and etc. If the Ori of this lighter is not well put together, it's not gonna close, and then this is gonna get dirty, and the fire won't work. The lighter won't work. So every Ori on everything has. Thank you, Jamie. Has its purpose. Its purpose. So I guarantee you that this book provides an effective, efficient, and practical method that would immensely be useful to the reader. And if you follow it as I explained on the book, and most importantly, if you learn the development of this discipline, which has been tested by a humble servant, but by me, and hundreds of religious and non-religious peers, I guarantee you that your life is going to change. So, speaking about Ori, in Yoruba cosmology, Ori, what is Ori? Well, Ori is a multifaceted concept that goes far beyond the literal translation of what it means, head. Because Ori, when you put it into context, it means head. But the literal translation of Ori, it doesn't mean head. The literal translation of Ori means who perceives, or who re means perceive. Ori means who perceives. Perceive. Whatever you perceive, whatever you can see, whatever you can think, whatever you can transform with your thoughts or your head, that's what Ori is, So Ori represents the inner essence and soul. It is the spiritual core that sits of one's being and individuality, destiny and potential. Ori is believed to hold the blueprint of an individual life's path chosen before Earth. Ori is the blueprint of us. It's the consciousness, it's the intuition, it's the source of inner self and wisdom, the guidance and the ability to perceive and understanding. Why? Because Ori is the maximum representation of Olodumare, in other words, of God in our head. We all have Olodumare living we all have an atom. We all have a small cell, a small antenna, a small representation of Olodumare in us. That representation is called Ori. That representation lives in our head. And it systematically links with our lungs, where the deity that lives in our lungs is called Emi or Elemi, which is the oxygen, which is the daughter of Olodumare. So I love that book. It is helping me to a lot to understand myself. That book is great. That it has been acquired, has been purchased by some English speakers, but this life has the purpose of expanding the knowledge, explaining to the English community of what really the book is about. So, my dream is for this book get to the hands of the maximum amount of person, because this book is really a lifesaver. This book has helped a lot of marriages, a lot of teenagers, a lot of religious people, and just a lot of practitioners. Whether you are a beginner or you are a godfather or a godmother, whether you are a babalawo or in the Ishesha practice, whether you are an Ija Onifa, or whether you are an Obaoriate or an Alejo or a Palero or Spiritist, that book is going to take you to the level that you need to be. So we won't procrastinate or throw away time that we only have once. We got to think of Ori as the inner head, which is Ori Inu. Ori Inu kodobo kobola agbani otoko bashe abalabani odoko ba diafuni otoko bobala bima. Alabima, is a praying of Ori Inu, which, in other words, is a distinct. Ori Inu is distinct from the physical head, which is Ori Ode. So, there's Ori Inu. Thank you, Josiah. There's Ori Inu, there's Ori Ode. And I also want to bring to your attention the 7, for those of you that it's the first time tuning to my channels, I have 7 schools, 7 religious schools. I have the school, and all of our schools are in English and Spanish. They are bilingual because I have a translator in the schools. I have the School of Spiritism, the School of Palo Mayombe, the School of Plants, a whale sign, the School of Herbs, so we can learn how to save ourselves with the plants. And then I have the School of Erin de Lagoon to become a Erin de Lagoon expert, diviner. And there's 7 different schools that you can subscribe to in www.davidalaaggayu.com. So continuing with Ori, it is the driving force behind a person's character, choices, and fate. While destiny is, I don't know how to pronounce this word. Let me see, because I have the vocabulary here. Inerrant. Okay, so let me see how this word is pronounced. Inherent. Okay. You see, I came prepared because I knew there were going to be words that. So, while destiny is inherent in Ori, it's not entirely deterministic. Individuals, we still have free will, and we have the ability to influence a path. We have, thank you, creations. Thank you for your support. Michael, I have like about 3 million lives in English today, in Spanish. Today is going to be in English. And if you want Spanish, you can come to my YouTube. And I have over 3,000 YouTube live that you can learn in English, in Spanish. I'm sorry. Today is for the English community. So, yes, we have our destiny. We have what we pick in the spiritual dimension. We often call it heaven, because we are so mixed with the Catholic traditions. But it's not really heaven. It's a spiritual dimension. It's another dimension that is not the one that we currently are right now. So having a good Ori is essential for a fulfilling life in Yoruba Lukumi belief, because it signifies alignment with one's destiny and the potential for success and happiness. So conversely, a weak or a trouble Ori, it leads to difficulties because of its profound importance. Ori is often venerated, adored by many people that consulted through divination to understand their path and make necessary adjustment. Now, let me make something clear here on Ori. Thank you, Ventas. One of the effective ways on consulting your Ori, it's by a system of divination, whether it is Erin Lagoon or Ifa. But Ori can be consulted, Ori can be consulted, Ori can speak to you without the system of divination. But in order to get to that level, you have to be extremely aligned with your Ori. So what is the purpose of different system of divination? The purpose of the system of divination blah, 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 is to help you to start understanding your Ori, to start aligning with your Ori with the help of Orisa. And after a while that you're doing a little better, then it's going to teach you on how you can listen to your Ori, see your Ori, understanding your Ori. So eventually you going to do less readings and less readings and less readings. Because then, what do you think on people that are not Yoruba believers, that are successful business owners, successful millionaires, people, I don't know. They also have the Ori. Increíble. Solo usted he visto con el sistema bilingüe. I do what I can in Bukole. I mean, I'm not very good at it. If not, I would do with the one day Spanish, the other day English, the other Spanish, the other English. But if you guys like this presentation that I'm doing, then we're going to do a little bit more English lives. Since we love the presentation, can we support by clicking on like or pressing the screen? Yes. I haven't done it here in the English live, but the way we can give a thumbs up in YouTube, well, one of the ways, it's by doing this. When you click on the YouTube screen, on your phone screen, I think that's a new way YouTube has on giving thumbs up to the live. So has described from the Odimeji, the mind comprise, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Let me see. Comprise. Well, comprehend. I think it's comprehend the word I'm looking for. The mind comprehends on three concepts, on three components, on three different concepts, that if we understand these concepts, it's going to be the beginning of getting to another level. So these concepts are consciousness, pre-consciousness, and unconsciousness. Three different concepts that will take you to the next spiritual and material level. Consciousness. Well, the term consciousness, pre-conscious, and unconscious, it's often used in the context of psychological, particular with the psychodynamic theories of Sigmund Freud. But when you take these psychological terms and we bring it into Yoruba Ori concepts, so we have to see that the conscious is the context, or in this context, the conscious refers to the part of the mind that holds what you are currently aware of. I am conscious that I am doing this, streaming this live for you guys. You are conscious that you are here present on this life. Because the conscious, it encompasses, it mixes your present through feelings, sensations, and perceptions. That's your conscious. Feelings, perceptions, and sensation. Think of it as the tip of an iceberg, the small portion that is visible above the surface. You know, in essence, the conscious mind is your current state of awareness, the thoughts that you are actively thinking about, the feelings that you are directly experiencing, the sensory input that you are currently processing. That's our consciousness. That's our consciousness. Now, preconsciousness, the preconscious contains thoughts. That's preconscious. Preconscious are thoughts, are feelings, are memories that are not in our current awareness, but that can be easily retrieved. It's like the information that is just below the surface of the water in the iceberg analogy that I just did for you guys. So you're not thinking about it right now, but you can access it as if you need to. That's preconscious. Preconscious, it's whatever you can access whenever you want. So there's negative preconscious and there's positive preconscious. Guys that are seeing me on well, I'm on 4 different. If you've seen me on TikTok, I invite you to follow my channel, to follow my account, and to give a little. And if you can please share this live with your friends, the English speakers, that will help me to grow a little bit, little by little, in the English community. I want the English community. I would like the English community to get to know me, to give me the opportunity for them to get to know me, my content. So this is preconscious. So preconscious includes store memories that are readily available, that are always. Yes, Morena, this is my voice. I am not a robot. Someone here on my YouTube said, "Is that really your voice?" Yes, it's my voice. This is a live translation. And profe, se escucha raro. Well, it's weird because I'm speaking in English, I guess, But preconscious is the memories you have that are easily accessible. For example, what you had for dinner last night, your phone number, or the name of a childhood friend, that's your preconscious. Something you have stored in your brain, in your mind, in your thoughts, and you can access it whenever you want. The feelings or thoughts that you are not currently focused on right now, but you can bring it to mind voluntarily. Let's say I have an argument with my wife, and thank you, devil. And a week passes by, and I want to remind my wife of something that she told me last week that I did not like. That's preconscious. So when you use preconscious in a negative way, that is going to harm your conscious. But when you use it in a positive way, it's going to help us to grow immersively our inner self. So now we have the unconscious on the book, The Power of Ori. And everything that I'm speaking about in this life, it is backed up with many, many, many hundreds of Ifa verses, Orisha verses, Erindi Lagoon verses, Oduns, Adura, and many other. You never stop amazing me. You're definitely one of a kind. Blessings, Gubiles. Thank you for your nice words and comments. So, the unconscious is the deepest and most inaccessible part of the mind. That's the unconsciousness. It is a reservoir. I don't know how to pronounce that word. It is reservoir. I want to.
Depósito.
No, yes, but in English, don't.
Reservoir.
Okay, reservoir. Wow, that's too much of a big word for me. Reservoir. Well, that it's the reservation of thoughts. It's like a reserve, like army reserve. It's a reserve. It's like a drawer. It's a drawer, reservoir. It's a drawer. It's a safe that holds your thoughts, your unconsciousness. It's a safe that holds your thoughts, your feelings, your memories, your desires, your impulses that are repressed or have never been conscious. So, according to psychology or psychodynamic theory, the unconscious exerts a powerful influence on our behavior, even though we're not aware of its contents. But according to Orisha, according to the Arindilogun, the Oduns, and according to Ifa or Orisha tradition, for that matter, the consciousness, the unconscious, the state of unconscious, it's something that it's a state of mind. The unconscious is a state of mind that we are always available to access it. And it's the state of mind that if we learn how to access it, it is the unconscious what can lead us to be possessed by spirit on the day of tomorrow. Yes, Maestro. The books are being printed right now because Maestro de la Luna on TikTok is saying that he reaches. You're talking about this book, right? Here, I'm going to show you the book that over 250,000 copies have sold. Palo Mayombe, Practice and Secrets of Palo Mayombe. So 50,000 more copies are being printed right now because we ran out, and all of these books are going to be sent next week, Maestro. That's why you got the book on pre-sale. When you get a book on pre-sale and you save $60, $70, the how do you say the backside? Well, not the backside, but the negative part is that you got to wait a little bit more for the book. When the book goes out on sale, you're gonna pay regular price. You're gonna receive that book in 3 or 4 days, but you have to pay regular price. But don't worry about it. No one has received that book yet. It's being printed. It's going to be sent out next week. But thank you greatly. I appreciate the clarification. It's a pleasure by all means. So the downside, I say the backside, like if it was some kind of a trap, right? I'm sorry. The downside, yeah, that's a downside. But I know we get a little bit desperate here and there. I get like that the same way when I buy a book that I really, really want, and I even pay the extra, the fastest overnight, one day to the other. And I get mad if I don't receive it in 2 or 3 days because I'm really desperate on reading the book. But you guys will receive that book in a couple of days. So the unconscious is thought to contain repressed memories of trauma experiences, unacceptable urges or desires, unresolved conflict from the past, and instinctual drives. So it's important to note that while these terms are most strongly associated with psychology perspective, the concept of different levels of mental processing, it is also deeply explored in Yoruba tradition, and it teaches you, I show you the secret on how to align this to the conscious. I only get like that when I order a book from Dr. Davidalaaggayu. When it gets here, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Yes, I understand. I get like that sometimes too. So, and this to the concept of conscious, preconscious, and unconscious, it all comes down to one word: desire. What does desire means? A strong feeling of longing for something to happen. Like you guys have the desire of receiving my latest book of Palo Mayombe, ASAP, and that's the desire. It's a strong feeling of wanting something to happen. And this is reflected in the Odun Odimeji. It also reflects in the Odun Oshemeji, also reflects in the Odun Odiotura, which says, Abati Abadani Orisa Oken, Eba, Ositi Domo Mase Imuse, which translates to what we desire, what we want, what we will love to have, is what Orishas will grant us. If we desire something, guys, it is because we believe it will bring us happiness. That is why we develop a liking for it. If we desire something, it's because we believe it's gonna be good to us. It's gonna make us happy. It's going to make us grow. But there's a difference between desiring good stuff and desiring bad stuff. This book also talks about how to manage anxiety by taking control of Ori. Yes, it is a book that also delves deeply into the concept of anxiety, how to manage, how to take control, and how to eliminate anxiety in order for us to align with Ori. It contains many Yoruba prayers that we can pray them in the morning with just a little igba, a little container of fresh water, which is free. You don't need roosters, you don't need animals, you don't need birds, you don't need nothing. Just a little bit of fresh water you can get from your pila, from your host, I guess, your kitchen, and a prayer, and it's going to align your day, you know. So whatever, let me see how can I put this, because this is very interesting. If your Ori doesn't desire something, Orisha, to refresh, yeah. If your Ori does not desire something good, Orisha, faucet. Thank you, Lisbel. The Orishas are not going to be able to give it to you. That's something we need to understand. You know, it also seems to be a hopeful way to help with cognitive balance and management. Definitely, indeed. Whatever your Ori desires, your Orisha will give you. If your Ori desires, thank you, Marcelino, for your support. If your Ori desires good things and blessings, your Orishas will give you good things and blessings. But when your Ori desires negative things, Orisha is going to let negative things happen to you. You know, if we desire something, just like Osa Otura says, and also Ogunda Oche says, we see that desire is one of Olodumare's attributes, manifested through Ori to guide us towards success in life and to make this world a better home. So it is from desire that continuous evolution in this earthly plane originates. Desire, because Ori aligns desires based on the harmony between our essence and our spiritual responsibilities. You see what I'm saying? Ori aligns your desires based on the harmony between our essence, our true essence, and our spiritual responsibility. If you're doing an ebo, if you're doing a spiritual work to get a blessings, and the Orisha wants to give you the blessings, but you do not, your Ori do not want to receive that blessing. For as many of us both that you do, you will not receive the blessing. For example, let me put this into context a little bit. I'm doing an abode so I can get along better with my wife, Reina. Just a hypothetical example, hypothetically speaking. I'm doing an abode so my marriage can be a little bit more united, so I can get along better with my wife, and I do an abode for that. What's up, Daniel? Blessings. But if I do the abode, and then next thing you know, anything that my wife tells me, it's going to it's going to flip it's going to make me mad, and I'm going to speak bad to her. That abode is not going to work because I am not accepting the blessings of Ori. You're very knowledgeable. I met you in the Bronx at Rena's house. Thank you and blessings. Many blessings, Duchess. Duchess, please follow him. Follow me in my YouTube channel. That's where the good stuff is, my friend. Many blessings. May Aggayu bless you. So, what does this mean? That when your desires align with your spiritual responsibilities, that's where the will of Olodumare manifests. And this is called Oridaba. Oridaba. Oridaba is the desire of Ori. But the desire, the true desire of the blessing of Ori only comes from the will of Olodumare. And the will of Olodumare only gives creation, only gives evolution, only gives good stuff. So whatever you're thinking that it doesn't contribute to evolution, it doesn't contribute to good, it doesn't contribute to prosperity, whether it's spiritual prosperity or material prosperity, if it doesn't contribute to prosperity, it does not come from Olodumare, and it does not come from your Oridaba, the desire of Ori. When the alignment occurs, these desires manifest with much greater ease. So, this life has the purpose of helping you discover the secret of aligning your Ori, refine the behavioral conduct, social, family, religious, fears, and you're going to understand way more than what you think you're going to learn on this life if you stay tuned with my life. And that was just the intro. Let me get a cigarette, guys, because I really need that nicotine and caffeine. I will be sending the book of Paloma Yombe next week. Well, not me, my editor. So, yes, definitely. You know, a book where I go deep into the six main types of stupidity found in humanity. You know, passive stupidity, collective stupidity, active stupidity, acute stupidity, chronic stupidity, and foolish stupidity. You know, when we understand stupidity, we learn tactical ways on how not to get involved with stupid people. And then there's just, when you see someone that's stupid, there's no way to find a synonym for this, to go around. You know, it's not a bad word. It's a definition of a character. Stupid people. And you know, it is unlikely that a person that is stupid, it is unlikely that a stupid person will feel attracted to this book. It is unlikely that a stupid person will feel attracted to this life, because one of the hallmarks of stupidity is laziness. And in our time, there are easier things to do than readings, than to watch a productive life. You know, it's better to watch small little TikTok videos or do other things. One of the hallmarks of stupidity, it is really the fact that people are indolence, idleness, inactivity, slackness, negligence, remnants, all of this are synonym of the fact that a person wants to be in the state of, because people think stupidity is offense. It's an offense. Stupid is not an offense. It's not an offense. It's not disrespectful. It's just a state of mind we all have gone through a part of life that we were all stupid at once, or at least we did something stupid at once, or we said something stupid. But if this book or this life sounds interesting to you, rest assured that you do not possess even the slightest degree of stupidity. So definitely. Does it hurt to be stupid? Sadly, it does not hurt to be stupid. Stupidity does not hurt. That's why, if stupidity were to be like a toothache, humanity will have thought of a solution to the problem a long time ago. Like Dr. Feldman tells us, that stupidity is essentially fear of criticism, fear of others, or fear of oneself. The eminent psychologist Dr. Charles Richard, said that a stupid person is not one who fails to understand something, but rather one who understands it perfectly fine, perfectly well, and still behaves as if they do not. And Albert Einstein said that two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. And then he said, I'm not entirely convinced about the universe. So he said that stupidity was more infinite than the universe. So the first thing we must understand is, like the famous phrase of Gotham: if you treat a human as they are, and they will remain as they are. But if we treat them as what they could become, then they will become what they are destined to be. And that's the purpose of religion these days, that we want to treat people on what they are, because we pobrecito, his feelings, I don't want to hurt his feelings. If I hurt his feelings, he's gonna feel bad. You treating the person as to what they are. You treating them as what they are. But when you treat a person on what they can become, they will become what they are destined to be. Like the great Gotham said in 1995. You know, treat a human being as they are, and they will remain as they are. But treat them as they could become, and they will become what they are destined to be. You know? Because although nothing changes, if I change, everything will change. And that's the biggest problem in society today, is the inability to acknowledge our mistakes. We believe that we're perfect. Yet, when someone reveals their true self and admits that they're wrong on what they're doing, that they admit their wrongdoings, it often seems like they lose authority. You know, in today's society, if a person admits that they were wrong about something, people think that person just lost credibility, that the person lost authority, and it's the whole way. It's the opposite. A person does not lose authority when they show who they truly are and they recognize their flaws. You know, on the contrary, they gain authority. One of the ways to truly reveal oneself is by asking for forgiveness, apologies when we are wrong, acknowledging our errors. You know, for some reason, we Latinos, we have been sold the idea that admitting mistakes is a sign of weakness or cowardice. But how wonderful is when a human being has the courage, the character to acknowledge they made a wrong decision and asks for apologies or forgiveness. But in our culture, it seems like if we do something wrong and you apologize, I'm sorry. It's like if you like, so we're saying like if you were making a huge mistake. You know, when we fail to recognize our mistakes, Ori, the tendency is to fall into a vicious cycle, adopting a fictitious personality, where we end up believing a version of ourselves that doesn't truly exist. Doesn't truly exist. And we go through life repeating this pattern, thinking the world is bad, the people are bad, and we are the good ones. And it becomes a vicious pattern, you know. People are bad, the world is bad, everyone is bad, and I'm the only good one, and people are wrong and I'm right. And all because the damn pride. And what is pride? The weakness of character and the inability to ask for apologies. The lack of willpower to ask for forgiveness reveals a great weakness of character. And here, like I do, I dive deeply into this book, The Power of Ori, Unlocking Spiritual Growth. I speak about the fact that we must learn to differentiate. Did I say that right? I'm talking big words already. Oh boy, it's getting feeling like some kind of high class. You know, when I say big words like that, I feel important, because that's a big word for me in English. Differentiate. Okay. Anyways, it's just a joke. I'm not good at jokes, guys. So anyway. We have to learn how to differentiate between temperament and character. Temperament and character. There are two different. I'm so nervous that I haven't even smoked a cigarette. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Guys, I'm gonna smoke the cigarette. I need a cigarette. I need it. Thank you, Marcelino. Thank you. Hey, spiritual warfare. Temperament. I want to see if I'm pronouncing the word right. Let me type right quick here. Temperament, because I want to be able to pronounce the word correctly. Because I like that word. Temperament.
Temperament.
Temperament. Yes, I'm pronouncing it correctly. Temperament. I assume that's the way you pronounce the word. I have never pronounced that word in English in my entire life. Temperament, it's what we inherit from our parents. Temperament is in our blood. Thank you very much, Natalia. Te lo agradezco en el fondo del corazón, mija. Temperament is what we inherit from our parents. It's in our blood. It's in our DNA. But get this, guys. Character is what we develop. And it is what makes us a person. It's what gives us the identity. It's what we develop in connection with our Ori. That's right. Temperament, it's what we're born with. Character, it's what we develop. The more character you're willing to develop, the more successful you're going to be in life. You can bet that. You can bet that's the way it is in life. You know, if we seek a weak character, we fail. We're going to fail. That's a guaranteed failure in our life. If we have strong character, we're going to be successful. But what is a strong character? The strong character is the ability to control one's temperament. You know, a person with a violent temperament only reveals their true weakness of a character, their lack of self-control, the inferiority complex, the psychological trauma, and fear of losing control. A control they have never possessed in their life before. This is someone whose temperament dominates their character because they lack of personality, they lack of identity, they lack of self-confidence. They are undefined, weak in character. They're weak in character. And these people that are lack of character are the ones that you see in social media gossiping. In social media gossiping about everyone. Everything everyone do, it's bad, it's wrong, it's sancocho, they're the only ones that are right. But on the other hand, a person who has absolute mastery of their character, where their character, their traits forge, dominates, and overshadow their temperament, has a very likelihood of being successful and fulfilled in life. We must never confuse temper with character, and we must always strive to be extremely religious individuals guided by our strong character. You know, strong character is what controls an irrational temperament, because strong character means having willpower and mastery over your actions and words. That is the true strong character. We often confuse it with violent temperament, but it is not the same at all. A person with such violent tendencies only demonstrates that they have no real character, no real personality, no real identity to define or categorize them as eloquent. So, you know, instead they come across as inept, foolish, because temperament is inherited. Character is formed. Someone who never gets angry or irritated easily is someone with strong character, because they dominate they have domain over their temperament, you know? So that is important to mention when we speak about Ori. It is very important when we speak about Ori. Important to mention the brain, the memory techniques. It is important to speak about Obatala and Eshu. You know, what a coincidence that Eshu's number is the number 3, and that and our brain, our complex organ weighs 3 pounds. That cannot be a coincidence. That Eshu in Obedi, he went inside the brain of all the Orishas except the brain of Obatala. And then scientifically, it's proven that the brain weighs 3 pounds. Or just about 3 pounds. But it's also 3 hemispheres. So the brain has to do a lot with Eshu. And when we learn to appease Eshu, attend Eshu, we are able to have a little bit of more, how do you say, dominating, a little bit of more control over the negative thoughts that our Eshu can impose in our mind. Because there's a difference between, I was talking about consciousness, pre-consciousness, and unconsciousness. And they are 3 orishas that manifest themselves in, thank you, Jamie, thank you, Mimi. There are 3 orishas that manifest themselves in these 3 concepts. Eshu lives in the unconscious. Obatala lives inside your conscious. And guess which Orisha lives in your pre-conscious? The brain is very complex. It's very complicated. And in this book, I teach the pyramid of memory retaining, because, you know, we retain 5% of the information when we listen to a lecture. But then we retain 10% of the information when we read. We retain 20% of the information we learn through audio and visual processing. We retain 30% of the information when we demonstrate. You know, when I demonstrate what I learn, not teach, demonstrate what I learn, I just retain 30% more of that information that I learn. But you also retain 50% through group discussions. When we speak between others, group discussion, we retain 50%. We retain 75% of the information we learn by doing it. But we retain, science says that we retain 90% of the information when we teach it. So when we teach it, we learn 90%, we forget less. So that's why it's important to teach our godchildrens. It's important to teach our kids. It's important to teach the people we like, but also it's good to teach to the people we don't like, because by you teaching the people you don't like, Obe Ofun says that you're getting a great depth of, you're getting a great blessings from your Ori, because you're going to retain more, and from the Orisha of that person that you're teaching. However, imagine how much more you will learn if you dissected and discuss the stories, myths, fables, legends with others. What you learn. So analyzing the who, the where, when, how, and why behind the stories you read or hear, and then discussing this information with someone else, this will dramatically improve your ability to analyze and understand the material. Because teaching others or engaging in discussions where people ask you questions about the material adds, or the material you learn, this adds to another layer of depth to your learning. And there's two concepts that will benefit you in the way mastering any skills. First one is focus and accelerated learning, where this concept challenges the preconceived notions about self-education, such as time, place, and concentration. And this is the foundation of accelerated learning. Accelerated learning is the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, that suggests that 80% of what we learn comes from the 20% of our effort. The key is identifying the critical 20% of any skill, they're focusing exclusively on it. While this won't make you an expert, it will make you better than most. The second concept is just-in-time learning, which is a concept related to accelerated learning that involves focusing solely on information that you can immediately apply. So when we do this, really we break the skill into manageable steps. This will help you retain up to 75% more information in long term. And also in this book, I teach some techniques on retaining information, like how can we retain more information with our Ori, with what we can do. Like, for example, when you read out loud, you retain 35% more information than if you were to read inside you. When we drink water, we retain 15% more information. When we chew gum, we retain 10% of more information, chewing gum while we read out loud. If we read 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and 10 minutes before we go to bed, that will make 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week. You will learn 75% more. You will retain 75% more than if you was to read only 3 times a week every time you read. It doesn't matter if you read 3 hours 3 times a week. You will learn more 10 minutes in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, and 10 at night, 7 days a week, than if you do not study every day. You know, also I speak about small breaks. We need to take small break. Read 10 minutes. If you would like to study an hour every day, you read 20 minutes. You stop 5 minutes. Read 20 minutes, stop 5 minutes, and so and so. That's if you have a little bit of more time. But very important, the mind, very important, the memory, very important, your sleep, very important to get quality sleep. I may not sleep that much. I don't sleep that much because I have a lot of things to do. But the little bit of time that I spend on sleeping, I have a very good quality of sleep. Because you can sleep 10 hours and only rest 1 hour. But you can sleep 5 hours and you can rest 4 hours and a half. So this is very important to mention. You know? And to understand also the fact that, thank you, Dario. Thank you. In this book, I also speak about all the modulators, the chemicals that influence on how one neuron responds to other. You know, acetylcholine neuron that connects critically on focusing and learning. The dopamine, the neuron of dopamine that plays a profound role in motivation. Dopamine. If we don't have dopamine, if we don't generate dopamine in our body, we will not feel motivated. Dopamine, one of the greatest discoveries about the brain, is that motivation is controlled by dopamine. Dopamine, it is a chemical found in a small group of neurons located in the brainstem. And this dopamine neuron, it's part of a larger brain system that governs reward-based learning and releases dopamine when an unexpected reward is received. So dopamine signals are widely project and have a powerful effect, influencing decision making and even the value assigned to sensory inputs. Dopamine not only deals with immediate rewards, but also predicts the future rewards. So, you know, if you like when you upload a photo, a picture to your Facebook, and you see that the picture starts getting 5 likes, 10 likes, 20 likes, 500 likes, 800 likes, what do? You get happy because your brain releases dopamine. It's a neuroactive cell that your brain makes you feel happy. And what do? It makes you wanting to upload more pictures to see if the next one can get the same amount of likes. So, you know, this motivates you to pursue something that doesn't provide immediate gratification, but leads to a much better reward in the future. So when we suffer a loss of dopamine neurons, it results in a lack of motivation and a condition called anhedonia. Anhedonia is the loss of interest in things that once upon a time brought pleasure. And this is very important to understand in a relationship. It is something important to understand in the studying of religious. Because when you understand in a relationship that it's not that you don't stop to love the person, but you are suffering from anhedonia, that you have lost a little bit of interest. What do you think if you break up with that person, you will feel very, 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 very extremely sad because you loved the person. So now that you're not with the person, you start to get depressed. But when we don't understand this, we let dopamine affect our brain on looking another woman and saying, wow, she's hot, she's sexy, and you cheat on your wife because you let that dopamine that your brain felt so good on looking at another woman without noticing that you were suffering from a pattern of anhedonia. And neurologically, if we understand these concepts just a little bit, we don't have to go into that deep. We're not going to be neurosurgeons or nothing like that. When you understand a little bit about this and you put it into context with Ori, you will understand more of your destiny and on how to align with your Ori. You know, and this is so bad that when our brains suffer a loss of interest that is caused by dopamine, when we lose a lot of neurodopamine, severe dopamine, it's what causes tremors, slowness, rigidity, which are symptoms of Parkinson's disease and can eventually lead to catatonia, which is the complete lack of movement. So we have to keep developing constantly dopamine. When you get into a mode of static, when you lay on your couch all day, when you lay on your bed all day, when you're going through a depression, and I have a chapter here that speak about depression, and I speak to you, give you the secrets on how to get out of depression. This is the magnificent guide, this book on how can you prevent depression and how can you get out of depression. Because when you're depressed, depression can cause a severe, how do you say, when you go into a shock, I forgot about the word. When, depression can cause a lot of, it can cause your brain to shut down. But then we have another neuromodulator. Yeah, I think it's called neuromodulator. That is called serotonin. Serotonin is another modulator system that strongly affects your social life. You know, they did a study among monkeys, and the alpha male had the highest level of serotonin activity, while the lowest ranking male has the lowest levels of serotonin. And that's where this medicine that is called Prozac, commonly prescribed for clinical depression, Prozac is what increases serotonin activity. Serotonin levels are also associated with risk-taking behaviors. You know, monkeys with the low serotonin levels are more reckless. When you have low serotonin levels, you are reckless. You know, like people that are incarcerated for violent crimes, they also tend to have low serotonin levels in society, because your emotions heavily influence your ability to learn. And it once believed that emotions were separated from cognition. But recent research shows that emotions are deeply combined with perception and attention. Emotions, it's what leads to perception and attention. So if you try to be perceptive and have attention, depending on the emotions that you have right now, it's what's going to depend on. interacting with the learning and memory. The amygdala, which is an almond-shaped structure nested at the base of the brain, it's like, you know, it's one of the main centers where the connection, cognition, emotions are effectively integrated. The amygdala has part of the limbic system, and along with the hippocampus, is involved in processing memories, processing decisions, decision making, regulating emotional responses. To learn effectively, you must keep your amygdala in a happy state. When we don't keep our amygdala, our brain amygdala, in a happy state, you will not learn a goddamn thing. You can read a book and you will not learn nothing. You have to be emotionally, spiritually align your Ori with your amygdala. And if you are not feeling happy, you have to make your Ori think that you are happy. And then you open the book and you read it. If you're mad and you read a book, you will not retain any information. If you're sad and you read a book, you will not learn any information. Why? Because the fact that you're not happy, the happiness is transformed into happiness is the evolution of creation. Happiness is the symptom that represents in Ori from Olodumare. Happiness is what Olodumare transformed. Happiness is the manifestation of Olodumare in Ori. If you're not feeling happiness, if you're not feeling happy or satisfied, that means you're not aligned with Olodumare with your Ori right now in your life. You know, emotions and neuromodulatory systems, they operate more slowly than perception and action. But they are no less important in the learning process. Because when it comes to memory, it's no surprise that humans have an extraordinary visual and a spatial memory system that can enhance our brain's capability. But if I ask you to take a quick look at a house you have never visited, within minutes, you will have a general idea of the future layout, the locations of the room, the colors of the walls, and even the colors of the medicines in the bathroom cabinet. You know, the principle forms the foundation of one of the best memorization techniques. It's called the memory palace. And there are two types of memory: long-term memory and working memory. When you think about your childhood, you're accessing parts of your brain involved with long-term memory. When you try to keep a few ideas in your mind to connect them with others to understand a concept or solve a problem, you are using your working memory. So we must focus, attention, understand the basic idea, understand the context, and create an analogy or metaphor every time we are reading something. Every time you finish a chapter of the book, if you don't do those four things, if you don't focus your attention, understand the basic idea of the chapter, understand the context that you're reading, and you create an analogy or a metaphor of the chapter you just read, I will guarantee you will learn, you will retain 79% less of the information that you just read. So without doing these four things, you're going to throw away 80% of what you just read. That means you throw away 80% of the time, you throw away 80% of your... Because there is a difference between rereading and studying. Reading is only effective if you allow some time to pass between sessions, making it a space in repetition and exercise. However, not all humans learn in the same way. For example, I enjoy reading and I have developed a personal study technique. So, I like to read the book quickly. I like to read a book. I like to read a book about 2 or 3 times. I like to read a book fast, just reading it. And then I read the book. I read a book in about 2 or 3 days, depending on the length of the book. Then when I read it again, I study the book. I start taking notes. I start taking detailed notes and studying the material. That's where you really study a book. And then the third time, this is one of my technique. I read the book on reading the like each page. I read it salteada. How do you say salteada? Like a couple of sentences, then I jump to another couple of sentences, and in each sentence, I will try to remember what I have read in the past, and that's a studying technique. Because reading is not the same as studying. The problem, and there's a small problem with highlighting or underlining a text. Sometimes it can be inefficient or even misleading if not done carefully, because it might give you the illusion that you have stored the concept in your brain simply because your hand moved across the page. And that is called illusion of learning. Skim reading it. There you go. That is called illusion, skimming through the book. There you go. Thank you very much. So when sometimes we highlight something, sometimes we suffer from illusion of learning, the role of note taking. Jeff Carpico's research also highlights the importance of note taking. Many people enjoy reading a book. They enjoy reading a book. They're studying because having the book open gives them the illusion that the material is in the brain as well. And this is another illusion of learning. Because the brain infects our mind with illusion. One thing is the brain, the other thing is the mind. There's a difference between brain and mind. And we cannot let the brain infect our mind with illusion. The fact that you bought one book and that you have read through a couple of pages doesn't mean that you know the book. And this is important. I go deeply into this concept in this book, The Power of Ori, because memory, information, retention, it helps with brain fog. There we go. That's right. Memory has to do with aligning with Ori. When we align with Ori, the main purpose, first of all, the main purpose on aligning with your Ori, the main purpose is to learn how to align your Ori with Egbe by applying the teachings of the Odun of Dilogun and Orisha. Human beings are spiritual notes are very important, yes. And human beings are spiritual entities. And as humans, our purpose in life is to improve the world with our spiritual gift. And this means we come to the earthly plane to contribute and give back. When our physical bodies eventually leave the earth, the first question we will be asked in heaven is, what did you do on earth to leave it in better condition, in a better condition than when you arrived? What did you do for humanity? And this principle reflects in the Odun Irosomeji with the Dilogun. And in fact, it is Iroso Iwori, Iroso Wiro. However, this can only happen if we are aligned with Ori, has stated in Obehuani. To fulfill your true purpose, you must seek your inner wisdom of your Ori and put it into principle, into practice. So what does it mean is that really to be aligned with your Ori, it means to be in tune with your true nature, with your true purpose, which is your inner self. This is the essence of this book. Mimi says, right now I'm reading your last 3 books of Spiritism. Very good. Fire. So, most people within the religion believe that aligning with the Ori means constantly receiving multiple deities, Orishas, or undergoing Orisha initiation, and frequently offering blood sacrifices. However, that is not the case at all whatsoever. On the contrary, receiving an Orisha at a time when it's not necessary can worsen the situation rather than improve it. That's why a lot of people are very have lost hope in the religion, because their elders do not explain to them the truly purpose of religion, of Ori. Align with your Ori, uncovering how to harmonize with your spiritual purpose and understanding the critical role that it plays fulfilling your destiny. Because the fundamental concept of this practice is aligning your Ori to fulfill your true destiny in this world, which is based on a series of exercise and behavior patterns that the more that you do, the better you're going to be at it. And this theory, which is well proven, spiritual theory, material theory, are reflected in the Oduns that are in this book that supports each theory. So I guarantee that if you follow the mythology presented in this book, you will see radical changes and fruitful outcomes in your surroundings, in growth, both spiritually and materially. It is important to acknowledge that receiving Orishas and being initiated into the religion, yes, it's valuable. As the Orishas, they guide us on the path we must take in life. However, if you do not apply the divine wisdom reflected on the Oduns, on the Ita, and hear their advice, you gain nothing. The Orisha will do nothing in your life. The Orisha will do nothing for you. The Orisha will do nothing for you. It will be useless. It will be pointless for you to receive an initiation or an Orisha if you do not listen to the advices the Orisha are giving you, because the truly Orishas get to our life. We initiate into Orisha to acquire health, but not to acquire success. The success comes from the from the advice that we listen to the Orisha. That's the only way we're going to acquire success. Orisha does not give us success. Orisha gives us a path. The fact that we desire to take the path or not take the path, that's what's going to give us success. Do you understand what I'm expressing? Yes, The Power of Ori, this book, it's available. This Life Mastery book, it's available in www.davidalaaggayu.com. It is how and do. It is available here. It's available here. This is the website. davidalaaggayu.com. I will spell it out for those English speakers that are tuning the first time in my life. www.davidalaaggayu.com. So this is very important, guys. It's very important to understand. It's very important to understand the true transformation of character and behavior lies on balancing, harmonizing, and aligning our Ori with Aggayu. But how can we attune ourselves to such a powerful energy? How can we achieve a equilibrium? Oh, this book, I have edited and add a lot of information to this book, Mimi. So relatively, it has more information than the one in Spanish, than the Spanish version. So that book has the purpose of teaching you on how to balance and harmonize the energy levels in your body, your mind, to strengthen your body with Ori and Aggayu. So like that, it can enable you to awake that dynamic Ashe and shine in this world. And the first thing we need to understand is who are Ori and Aggayu. You know, Ori-Inu, Ori-Ode. Ori-Inu is your inner self. Ori-Ode, it's your physical head. Ori-Inu means the inner head. Ori-Inu lives in the navel because that's where we are nourished for 10 months. It's not 9 months, it's 10 months. 40 divided by 10. It's 40 weeks, 10 months. So the inner head, it is where we choose our path before birth. And it is where our destiny is transferred before we arrive on earth. This is why humans feel emotions like joy, danger, happiness in their stomach first, and then these feelings are processed by the head because our Ori-Inu lives in our belly button. Ori-Inu lives here. This is where Ori-Inu lives. Ori-Inu is our inner self. Ori-Inu lives here in the belly button. That's why it is very important for a pregnant woman try to align her Ori as much as possible so she won't transmit part of her Ori-Inu to her unborn baby. And this is why it is extremely important to appease Ori Inu when doing a head rogation. We don't, in the diaspora Afro-Cuban tradition, when we do a head rogation, we don't do nothing. Well, a lot of people don't do nothing to the belly button. I do. I appease the belly button. I pray to the belly button. I put coconut in the belly button. I put fresh water in the belly button. Because the more you appease your belly button, there's a secret in there. The more you appease, you refresh the belly button, which is where your Ori Inu lives, the less, how can I say this? The less amount of, shit, I don't know how, let me see. I need to type this because I want to tell you guys something very mind-blowing, very breathtaking. Listen to this. Listen to this. This is mind-blowing. Más frescas. Just give me a couple of seconds. Más elimina la maldición de generación en generación. Okay, I'm ready. So listen to this.
The more you refresh your navel, the more you remove the curse from generation to generation from your family.
Okay, so the more you refresh your belly button, the more you remove little by little the curse from generation to generation in your family. You know, like when we're born, we have that spiritual curse that if your mother were like that and your grandma or your father, let's put the father, not the mother, your father were like that, your grandfather were like that, your great grandfather were like that, and generational curses. Yes, from Pemonte, thank you very much. That is the purpose. Dice, Koda con koda go bobo. Fiedenu ori inu ni otokobo adiafuni ofo ni otokobo de obigigigila wana ni otokobo be babololoru adiafun ori ni inu ni otokobo be ori inu ni otokobo bo welari o iyakobo welari daumbo adabafun oloru ni tokobo be obelari. It says that generational curses does exist by the divination that Ori sounds like you can break the curses and better live in it. An interesting concept. Yes, definitely. When we appease our Ori Inu, it helps to break little by little all DNA, spiritual family curses. So this is why humans, Ori Inu is the source of all existing. It is the power residing within every human being, the wealth of everyone, the light within each person, the truth and authentic nature of every individual. It is the source of Olodumare in your DNA. In metaphysics, metaphysic, Ori Inu is referred as higher self or divine self. Each Ori Inu has its own principle, its truth. And anything that contradicts these principles and truths is considered is considered something that we cannot consume. It's called ewo. Ewo means taboo or prohibition. Prohibition. Prohibitions begin to emerge. And we see this in Aggayu. It teaches us, Aggayu, that Ori is the source of all beings. You know, it says, Asheda awonwole isalu ayade afun Ori timbe ni binsi mi Olodumare ni senko bi Olodumare ni boirumole lati ba mi lati biye bo boirumole lati ba fun wo Ori loda. It says Asheda is Ashe Eda. Ashe Eda. A lot of Babalawos think Asheda, it was the first priest of Orunmila. No. Ashe Eda. You know, Ori, Eleda, Eleda, Oloda, Eleda, Eda. Ele is pronouns, or it's Ele, it's like Olo, Ele, Allah. Eleda is the owner of your head, the owner of Eda. But when you say Ashe Eda, Asheda, Ashe Eda, it means the power within beings, which was the first spiritual priest of the earth, which was Ori. Ori is Asheda. Ori is Asheda, the one who lives in peace. So Asheda is the central power within our being, which is precisely Ori. That is in reality who Asheda is. And this is what Aggayu says. Ori can never be destroyed because it is the direct connection that every human being has with the mother source, Olodumare. It's the direct connection of Olodumare. This is why Ori cannot be destroyed, and this is why voodoo, witchcraft, will never be on a higher level than Ori. That is why you can do as many witchcraft to me that you would like to. You can do as many voodoo to me that you want. That if I am aligned with my Ori, it is impossible that any witchcraft would do any harm to me. And I prove that to you with Odun of Erindilogun, Odun of Ifa, with Itangs, with Pataki, with stories backed up by Orisha, Dilogun, and Ifa. In this book, The Power of Ori, I teach you, I show you, I demonstrate that there's no witchcraft, voodoo, that can do any harm to you if your Ori, it's aligned. Because your Ori is Olodumare, and there's nothing higher than Olodumare. When you do a bad witchcraft or voodoo to someone, the only way that voodoo works, it's when that person is not aligned with the Ori. If that Ori is aligned, there's no witchcraft that can go against Ori. And Ofun Meji says that. Ofun toko funi oko baba she Meji toko bobola bungi gaga loko Meji ni otoko baba unjana. It says Ofun did 2 divinations for the good and the bad. And it's a long translation. But this is why Ori constantly undergoes and the undergoing an evolutionary process of changes, yet it never loses its true originality. Your own Ori is your health. One's Ori is the very source of wealth. And this is when we truly realize that Ori, apart from being the source, is the internal power we all possess. Notice that Ori is the only entity with the ability to bring wealth into our lives. Ori, Orisha does not bring wealth. Orisha brings good character. And you have to use that good character, put it in combine with your Ori abilities to get wealth. But there's no Orisha that you're going to receive that's going to fill up your life with money. No, 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 no. If they're telling you that you need to initiate in Orisha to have a lot of money, if they're telling you that you need to initiate in Ifa to have a lot of money, if they're telling you that you need to initiate in Babalawo, Yanifa, crowning your Orisha to have a lot of money, well, guess what? They're lying to you and they're going to steal your money. Yes, Kim Marias, you guys are more than welcome to, you guys are invited. You guys are more than invited to subscribe to my schools. I have 7 schools available for you. And you can start tomorrow if you subscribe to my Alejo school, the Lagoon school, Spiritism school, herbs and plants, so you can become a master of plants school, Palo Mayombe school, Secrets of Osha for Santeros, Olorisa school. You can subscribe at www.davidalaaggayu.com. Yes, literally, Ori is literally the greatest weapon we have. I initiated in Ifa for orientation and mental physical health. But yes, Antonio, plant school. My herbs and plants well sign school, it's like $80 a month or something like that, $80 or $90 a month. But you get 12 classes. All of the classes are bilingual, Spanish and English. All of the classes stays recorded in a cloud, and you can access that class whenever you want. Let's say if you work while the classes are taking place, you can watch the classes later on. You get PDF material, you get live class one-on-one with me material. Doctor, give me an advice. I am struggling with a vicious that have my mind closed. It's the same person that says, I initiated in Ifa for orientation and mental physical strength. Well, it didn't give you that much mental and physical strength if you are going against a battle of addiction. And that proves what I just said. If you initiate into Ifa, if you initiate into Orisha, this is not going to give you a successful future. What's going to give you a successful future, I'm telling you guys, this is the grail, the holy grail of success is this book, the holy grail of success. Because in this book, I demonstrate you that what gives you successfulness is not initiation, is the knowledge and evolution of your Ori. Initiation is good. Initiation is good if you want to get initiated. Fabulosa, the classes are in Spanish and English. En español y inglés. The classes are in Spanish and English at the same time. But we must understand that wisdom, wealth, health, peace is wealth. Health is wealth. These blessings are granted so that we can achieve ire owo. And let me explain something to you about ire owo. Let me explain something to you. I feel like Tony Montana's cousin or something like that. Let me explain something to you. That's funny. Let me explain something to you guys. And I'm going to probably, I need to do a little video of this in Spanish so I can set the record straight to all these fools that think that in a reading, because they mark to their godchildrens and to their clients they're telling people that they're going to receive money. Thank you very much, Felix. You know, all this Oba Oriate, all these Ororishas, all these Babalaos marking in readings, they're telling people they're gonna receive money. They're not gonna receive any money. They're gonna receive blessings throughout their own hands. That's in reality, that's what Ireo means. Owo in context means money, but in literally explained, Owo means something you receive through your own hands, guys. Owo, you know, when you say agoleria chupaco, lo owo by your own hands. Lo wotun, lo wosi. So when you say ire owo, it's something positive, positivity, or that you're going to receive through your own hands. It's not any money that you're gonna all these priests saying that play the lotto here and there. The riches don't tell nobody to exercise any kind of addiction. Playing is an addiction. You know, there's no that goes against the will of Olodumare. So if it makes you more poor, if it deteriorates your character, it goes against your Ori, because Ori is the will of the Olodumare. So when you want to study something, when you want to read a book, when you want to love, love is not an emotion, it's a decision, and that's when a lot of marriages fail. If you're single right now and you failed in your last marriage, that's fine. It's cool. It's done. It's not coming back. But in your next marriage, if you really find someone that is worth it, or you are with one person now that you think is worth it, you make a decision. Your decision comes from Ori. Your emotions comes from your heart. Ori does not betray. Emotions from the heart does. That's why do not think with your heart. Think with your Ori. You decide you love that person. You're not with someone because you feel you love the person. No, you don't feel. You decide you love the person. When you feel, feelings goes away. Desire is permanent. That's deeper than what you think. It's just sometimes it goes over people's mind. That's deeper than what you think. It goes over people's head. I mean, sometimes. Like, sometimes people tell me, oh, that's not, I just be like, no, it just went over your head, man. You gotta think a little bit more. And you'll find it is better to think with intelligence and mind than emotion and heart. There you go. Most definitely. So, Ireo wo. The next time, and I love the life. Thanks, doctor. No, Jeremy, and I'm actually saying I'm teaching a couple of things on this life that I haven't teach in Spanish. Every life is different. And although I already did this life in Spanish, I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but little small details here and there I am mentioning on this life that I did not mention in the Spanish one. A person in Facebook says that how come from 500 people that you usually have connected on Facebook, you only have 4 people. I have 4 people connected on Facebook. Do you see me depressed because I have 4 people connected on Facebook? What a depression. Give me an Oreo cookie so I can cut my veins. No, guys, numbers does not interfere in my emotions. None less, even less, much less in my how do you call that? Spirit. All I need is one. As long as I have one and I'm changing one life, I'm changing one Ori, I'm helping a son or a daughter of an Orisha, that's all I need. But yes, the next time, if anything, it gives us more time to learn what. Actually, I love that. Helps me, the less people, it helps me to concentrate more on the comments. So, Ori perfects the path for us. Ori enables us to focus and on our journey in life and walk the thread that takes us from beginning to end. It says it in Obefun. Obefun says, without Ori, we cannot exist as spiritual beings. You know, sometimes we say, you need to attend your spiritual vault. And we think that only spirits lives in the spiritual vault. Being able to help the English speakers, it's already quite a lot. There's a prayer in Yoruba that says recounting when the Orishas descended to earth and did not know on which land they would live. It says, Ori lo da changosi o de koso, Ori lo da oyasi o de ire, Ori lo da oricha lasi o de iranje, Ori lo da eshu si o de ketu, Ori lo da ogunsi o de ire, Ori lo da oshun si o de ijinmu. Ijinmu is the Ijunmu land, that's where Oshun, Ijumu were born, the path of Oshun. Ori lo da orumila okay geti, Ori lo da orisumbo buirumole. So each Orisha, throughout their own Ori, they chose in which land they were going to live at. Guys, if you're connected in my TikTok, and you can please support me on my YouTube channel. This is my YouTube channel right now. This is where I'm connected, davidalaaggayu. If you can come to YouTube and tune with me on the live, I will very much appreciate it. And guys on YouTube, if you can do this, tap the screen. That's one of the ways you can give me a thumbs up, or you can leave the screen pressed for like about 2 seconds, and this little window will pop up, and you can give a like here and thumbs up. Well, so yes, to study Ori, we must understand Egbe Orum, and to understand Egbe Orum means the heavenly companions. Egbe Egbe means group, means companions. Orun means the spiritual dimension or heavenly, you know. The Igbo people call it Obanje. According to mythology, Osha or Orisha, every living spiritual being has a companion in heaven. You're such a blessing to me. It is a purpose why I, as Oshun daughters, has looked forward to learn from you, and no one in my family has taught me or spoke to me what you have done. Linda Gonzalo, thank you very much for your words, and those words are very inspirational to me, and they are like the force that keeps me thrive on an everyday teaching basis. Guys. And Egbe Orun means that we all have a heavenly companion or spiritual double, like some people say. And this heavenly companion is always supposed to be aligned with your Ori. Ekita Yeote, which translates to the heavenly companions never allow the earthly ones to fail. The heavenly companions never allows us to fail in earth. But the real question is, why do some people find it difficult to believe or understand this? And that's when the first thing we need to recognize is we are not living in our bodies. We are not our body. Your mission is to bring truth. Thank you, Genio. Linda Gonzalez, you are my inspiration. Thank you, Linda. I feel I am flattered. We are not living in our body. So the question becomes the following. If we are not our bodies, or if our bodies do not belong to us, then who are we? Or what is our real identity as human beings? Well, this is the answer. We are Edda. We are Edda. What does Edda is? Spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings. And what does this means? That we are spirits living within a body. When the breath of Olodumare, Emi, enters a body, which is Ara, something created, it's called Edda. Emi, Ara, Edda. And that's where the form Ele Edda, it is created. Eleda. Ele Edda. Eleda is the physical form of what we call, Eleda, it's our whole entire body. People think Eleda. Eleda is Ori. Eleda is not Ori. Eleda is your whole entire body that possesses Ori. That's why we say Agori, Agoleda. Because the center of the chakra of the whole entire body, it's like an antenna that goes through your whole center point, center head, goes down the amygdala inside your whole body to the tip of your toenail. So Eleda is the I don't know how to express that in English. That's Eleda. Eleda is the spiritual radiation that makes the whole entire body to move. And it's what synchronizes with your Ori It's like it's the antenna. That's why you don't need to be crowned in Orisha to be successful. You don't need to be crowned in Orisha. You don't need to be a Babalao to be successful. You just need to be aligned. You just need to learn the secret of how to align your Ori with your Eleda. I mean, if you want to get initiated, that's awesome. But it's a decision that needs to come from your Ori. It's not a decision that it's mind over matter. There you go. Yes, it is mind over matter. When subscribed to your YouTube channel and heard you speak, you gain a believer because everything you say has fundamental logic and truth. Your central nerve. Eda. And this is the function of spirituality with the physical matter of a person, forming a human being. It is at this point that we know begin to live as spirits dwelling in a body known as Ashe Eda. Ashe Da. Ashe Eda. Ashe the power. Eda. Spiritual being. Ashe Da means the power within the spiritual being. Which was later humanized by associating it with, one thing is Ashe Da, which is the spiritual concept, and the other thing is the Ashe Da and Akoda has historical figures. We must align Ori and Ebe Orum, because when one is aligned with Ori and Ebe Orum, we fulfill the true purpose of our life. Each person is born with a specific purpose, and alignment is essential for achieving it. We gotta understand that we reincarnate 7 times. And with each time of reincarnation, you come to earth to fulfill a distinct goal. Being aligned with Ori means living according to the will of your Ori, which is the same character and will of Olodumare. And this enables you to carry out the plan that it has for you, Olodumare, during this phase of your life and reincarnation. When we align with Ori, we are well centered in our position, and nothing can divert us from the path that leads to success, because people who achieve success do so because they are fulfilling what their Ori chooses for them in heaven, which is the will of Olodumare, which is the expression of the Orisha. Man, let me tell you something. When we understand religion from this perspective, it gives us a hell of a lot more purpose. Has Orisha worshippers, has Egun worshippers. Because it's different to learn this concept and see religion from this concept than to just be like, oh, I like Elegua, I like Eshu. I'm gonna give him a chicken to see if he blesses me. I like Oshun. I'm gonna give her a hen so she can bless me. It's remedial religion. That's not religion. That's remedial. I'm going to give Shango a goat, a ram. I'm going to give Shango a chicken. You think Shango is some kind of a work for some kind of, I don't know, he used to work for some kind of Pollo Tropical store or something like that? Oh, I'm going to start with my funny jokes in English. English community is going to love me. You think Shango used to work for Pollo Tropical? He needs chicken so he can be happy or something like that? No. That's not No, not pollo tropical, baby. No, not pollo tropical. Some souls uplift the world while others degrade the world or harm it. For example, in the pandemic is an event that goes against the laws of the universe, the COVID pandemic, causing destruction, the death. And the only ones that survived the pandemic were the ones that got into alignment with Ori, at least for that time. So these are forces that opposes the harmony of the universe. And when we are out of alignment as spiritual beings and we're not aligned with Ori, we become vulnerable. This is when we are attacked by pain, we are attacked by becoming susceptible to living this earthly world due to pandemics, disease, pains, sadness. If you are sad, that means you're not aligned with Ori. If you're mad, that means you're not aligned with Ori. If you're worried, that means you're not aligned with Ori. If you're pissed, that means you're not aligned with Ori. If your ego or you feel the need to be attached to something, that's a lack of being aligned with Ori. If you feel that, if you have the need of being attached to something or someone, that means you're not aligned with Ori. Because Ori does not get attached to anything on earth. Ori gets attached to spiritual and heavenly concepts because Ori is Olodumare. You have Ori, that's why you have Olodumare living within your Ori. My first recommendation to you to start aligning your Ori and to quit drugs, GTO on YouTube, my brother, and I'm very sorry you're going through this because there's nothing worse, there's not a worse feeling in this world than to do something you don't want to do because basically and I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but the drug addict, the person who is addict to drugs, do something they don't want to do. When we really see someone that is addicted. Today's English, Nestor. So brother, your first step is to get this book. Trust me, for a moment, it's going to be the best investment. It's going to be better than a doctor. It's going to be better than a psychologist. It's going to be better than a psychiatrist. It's going to be better than a treatment. It's going to be better than everything. When you get this book, after you read the whole entire book, the whole book, and I need you to read this book in 72 hours. Read it in 72 hours. When you read this book in 72 hours, then you're going to read it again by studying the book. You're just going to overread the importance of sleep, how to feed your brain, how to hydrate your soul, how to, all these steps, the mythology, how to create an analogy, everything. You're going to study it. You're going to spend a week on studying the book. And after you study that book, you're going to spend 24 hours on thinking, on rechaptering, rethinking the whole entire book you just read. And after that, my brother, you're going to go into davidalaaggayu.com and you're going to subscribe to at least one of my schools. You don't have to do the 7 schools, just one of the schools. Whether you do spiritism, whether you do herbs and plants, whether you do the herbs and plant school is going to give you a lot of herbs and medicines so you can start taking to detoxicate all the drugs out of your body. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your life. So, definitely aligning Ori for success and impact. Because to impact the world, which I think is Earth. Yeah, the all sign in the Earth. To impact the world and leave a mark through our actions during our time on Earth, we have to be aligned with Ori. If you are not aligned with your Ori, it's a complete pleasure, GTO. And I commit to you that if you subscribe to at least one of my schools, I'm going to give you one-on-one advice. You're going to be able to have access to me on a private WhatsApp number that we're going to be able to talk more oftenly, my brother. And I will help you on that. I will help you on that. I have helped, modestly, I have helped a couple of people getting out of addictions has a mentor and has a priest. The mind is the tool we have to use to manifest our desire. If the mind is in control of our decisions, it will use us instead of us using it as a labor tool. We have to differentiate. Control of labor. You cannot let the mind be in control of you. You have to be in control of your mind. Because the mind is the thoughts, and spirits manifest in our thoughts. And if your spirits are not aligned, then negative spirits are going to manifest themselves in your thoughts. And when negative spirits manifest themselves in your thoughts, you will start doing a pattern of behavior. You will start having a pattern of behavior that you're going to realize over the days that is not the real you. How many of us has gotten that happen to us? That has happened to me many times. It has happened to me many times. Yes? The choices, you see, when you let your mind be in control of your decisions, your mind will create its own agenda and ideas, most of which will be unrealistic. So the choices we make will be based on past generations, based on past perceptions. The choices you will make will be based on past perceptions or circumstances, not the present or future realities. For example, if you grew up with bitter parents, or if you were mistreated or betrayed, your mind, it's going to create false perceptions that these are the ways you must raise your children to educate them or to prevent them from experiencing the same situations. So once your mind convinces you of these false ideas and drags you into its narrative, you fall into a trance known as the false self. False self is called ego. This is what happens when you consciously or unconsciously allow your mind to control you. And this is described in the Odun Oshe Obara, the disorder of personal character. This is spiritual therapy. And there's a lot more where that come from on this great, magnificent, highly dimensioned spiritual book. GTO, my friend, the link for the book, YouTube doesn't let me put links. I will put you the website, davidalaaggayu.com. And my website, you can translate. There's a little button there up in the upper right of the website that you can translate the words on my website. It's translatable in more than 100 languages. So you have Spanish, English, French. I think we have Yoruba in there. It's crazy. So my merch, my schools, 1 hour with Dr. Davidalaaggayu. We have coffee mugs, mouse pads, hats, and much more. And davidalaaggayu.com. Yeah, I love Marcelino. He's like my so when has a spiritual being, we fall into this trap and persist in a state of the false self created by our own mind due to our inability to control it. This is when misalignment occurs. And at this point, you start to stray from the original destiny Ori set for you, including the blessings of life and all the ire. Ire means positive outcomes. Living as a spiritual being consumed by a false self, caused by your inability to master your brain, leads to catastrophic misalignments, because what you believe to be correct, which was wrong from the beginning, suddenly becomes, that's where it's born for the first time, taboos, prohibitions. This is in reality where the concept of ewo, it's born from. Anything that goes against Dr. David changes millions of lives worldwide. Anything that goes against production, creation, spiritual, prosperity, anything that goes against all of these things are ewos, because they are prohibitions, taboos for the human body, because the human body is led by Ori, which is a cell, which is a particular cell directly from Olodumare, because Ori is Olodumare. So your Ori does not want you to engage in actions that will lead you to failure, because false ideas are illusions and deceptions. They confuse the mind. They go against the nature of your Ori, your destiny, your higher self, the life path you chose up in heaven to live on earth. And that means that your attitude has now prevented you from aligning with your Ori. And this is caused when you watch TV all day, when you are on TikTok scrolling all day, when you are talking on a phone with someone for 4 hours a day, all day. Anything that you do that stops, freezes procreation, spiritual procreation, physical procreation in your life is on alignment with your Ori. Everything that does not fit your Ori is unaligning with your Ori. What does this mean? If you're watching a video and it's not going to fit positively in your Ori, this is better than Tony Robbins, I swear. No. How are you going to say that, Rob? Tony Robbins, great guy, great. I wouldn't say friend, but it's a great colleague. It's a great man. I have spoken to him like many others and a couple of times, and he has fed from my teachings, and I have fed from his teachings. But it's two different speeches. He does inspirational and motivation. He does motivation. I do inspiration, or vice versa, right? But I teach the inspiration and motivation in the religious concept, putting the religious concept so humanity can understand the real concept of religion. Because understanding the nature of Ori allows us to know how to navigate and project ourselves in life. But we must understand Ori because it also helps us to remain vigilant, protecting ourselves with the metaphorical shield. If we do not understand how Ori works, we will never be aligned with Ori, So anyone who is constantly in conflict, either causing or being involved in conflict, it's misaligned with the Ori. If we fail to follow this principle, it's a sign that we're completely misaligned with Ori. This is important. It's important to access self-discovery and embodiment. Self-discovery, self-embodiment, like Obehuani says. Meditation. Meditation is called Isaro in Yoruba. Isaro. Thank you, Ra. Likewise. Isaro, meditation, really, Isaro means surrendering and elimination of fear. That's the real meditation. That's what meditation is all about. Surrendering and eliminating fear. Obeate speaks about this. Obewate kaki ore akali oriroreo. It says surrendering to your Ori means disconnecting from false ideas and the false self created by your mind, and instead of embodying the true nature and principle of Ori. So, when we speak about this, we must understand that the mind can become a dangerously powerful master, and our total success depends on the choices we make based on its teaching. When we allow thoughts, it's called Eru, to control us, that's where we self-destruct. You can access Eddie, you can access my book in davidalaaggayu.com. That's where you can purchase this book, my brother. That's where today's talk, today's live streaming, it's on what this book is about. So, yes, but when we master our thoughts and mind, teaching, controlling, and training it, as the mind also requires training, then the mind becomes true. And we got to be careful with the false self. False. When we create ego, false self, which is the main idea and one of the first imposed by ego within us, it makes us feel superior to others. It all makes you feel superior. I'm sorry. It's false. It's impossible for you to be superior to another person, because another person is the creation of Olodumare, and none of us are superior to the creation of Olodumare. That's why none of us are superior to another person, because we are all created by Olodumare, or created, better yet, by Obatala, with the concepts of Olodumare. And it's impossible for you to be over the creation of such of high. That's why the Babalao say, oh, I'm superior to you, that you're not superior. The more you think you're superior to someone, the more of a piece of crap spiritually you're going to be upon the eyes of Olodumare. So the less of Ashe you're going to have. Oba, Oriate, Palero, Spiritists, Babalaos, they think they are superior to other people, that they are superiors to their God's children, that they are superiors to what they so-called students because they think they are teachers. A real teacher never think he's superior to nothing. A real teacher, the only thing that a real teacher wants is for the other person to get a better understanding, so they can become a better version of themselves. But a teacher doesn't think he's superior, to no one. Human beings, we tend to be independent. We are meant to be independent beings. A true professor, a true master is an eternal student. Yes, Marcelino, that is a fact. That is a fact. And just the fact that, believing that others are the blame for, but believing that others are to blame for your success or failure, it's a grave mistake. Osabara is the Odun of Dilogun that explains similarly to Obeate in Ifa. It says, we deserve success and abundance and must not fear asking for these blessings, as Ori is infinite. There's nothing wrong to ask for success. Oftenly elder says, don't ask for money, don't ask for success. There's nothing wrong with asking for success. It's just that if you're going to ask success and money and good things to an Orisha, you must prepare before you have to prepare your mind and your body to receive that money and that success. Because if you don't do anything to receive that money and that success, Orisha is not going to give it to you. How is it possible that if you don't know how to drive stick shift, you can even be able to turn on the car that is stick shift? It's not possible. How is it possible that if your lungs are not trained and capable of diving 100 meters deep, how is it possible that you're going to dive 100 meters deep? You have the sea, you have the option, you have the sea, you can throw yourself into the sea and dive 100 meters whenever you want. You can make that decision. Why you do not make that decision? Why you won't make that decision? Because you are not trained to dive 100 meters deep. That's not what you're trained to do. That's not what your Ori is trained to do. Because if you don't train your Ori to receive something, you will not receive what that something that you want. You can ask Allah, you can ask Olodumare, you can give 100 goddamn ghosts to Orumila. You will not receive it because you have not trained your Ori yet to receive that blessings or that something in particular you want to achieve. If you don't prepare something, I'm gonna keep this live tomorrow. I'm gonna do the second. I'm going to do the second part of this live tomorrow. We already been 3 hours on this live, and my followers are already getting tired. So I'm going to keep this. You know, I want you guys to be fresh. Tomorrow we're going to do the second part of this book, The Power of Ori. I invite you to check it out. The synopsis in my website, you will not be deceived. And I give you my word as a father, as a man, as a religious priest, that it's going to be the best $149 that you will spend or invest in your whole entire life. Because you're going to get more of in this book than what you're going to pay for. Many blessings, hugs, spiritual kisses to all of you. And if you subscribe to my schools or one of my schools tonight, I will see you in school tomorrow. Many blessings. Ilera today buku bobo orisha bewo once again Dr. Obadi davidalaaggayu, and I feel blessed. I feel flattered that I had many human beings. I had many of you religious human beings here in this life. You know, sacrificing your time, sacrificing your strength, sacrificing your sleeping time for being here with me. See you guys tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. on my YouTube channel, davidalaaggayu. davidalaaggayu.com, guys. Have a good evening, have a good night, and sweet dreams. Goodbye. Thank you, Marcelino. You're the best, bro. Jamie, thank you for being here with me. Claudia, thank you. Oshun Wales, Audrey, Aline, Henio. Really, guys, tomorrow, English on my YouTube channel. Achakoche, Jesse.